I've been really thinking about whether I want to really talk about the agency that I just left, where it started, and how it got so bad. And I ended up leaving in a epic sort of blow it up sort of way. Not like blow it up, but I won't be able to have them let me use them as a reference, even though I've spent my last 6 years giving my heart and soul to this agency. But with that being said, I do know that pretty much every single employee, past and present, that I've worked with there is absolutely willing to leave me a letter of a recommendation. So I've been trying to figure out how to organize this and where to start. Kind of laid it out here best I can up to a certain point. There's just so much to unpack in my time there. So I thought maybe I could break it out into kind of a series, break it into some parts that are a little bit easier to digest for me and for you, because to be honest, it's quite overwhelming for me to rehash and think about this, even though it's been my life for the last 6 years and it wasn't all bad, but when it got really bad, it got really bad. So let's just start from the beginning, shall we? For this first part, we'll just kind of talk about the introduction and my start with the marketing agency. I had a friend that I met his mutual friend over the years, and her, I guess he was a mutual friend with several of my friends. And somehow one evening we ended up going out for some drinks at a local bar and restaurant, and he was one of them there, and he had brought his friend / coworker that he worked with. Both of them worked at this agency. And so during that evening out, the friend he had brought, that was his coworker, and I started chatting it up, and we ended up talking about all kinds of stuff, and one of them being my current job, which was at a hotel, and how I didn't like it. The hours were all over the place, and my knees were getting really kind of tired of standing all the time. I have some really bad knee history, and it was just becoming very painful, exceptionally painful to stand every day. The money was awful. People at McDonald's made way more than I made, but I already done that in my lifetime, and going back and flipping burgers wasn't something I wanted to do. I've been a server in my past, and again, it just all kind of goes back to the standing for hours on end and the lack of money. And she had taken some interest in me and was, really kind of like, I think that you would be a perfect fit and a cultural fit, personality wise and everything, to come to the agency and work with us. And it was just kind of talk. I didn't know how serious she really was or anything like that. And she even said, she's like, I don't even know if the owners have the money to bring me on. And her idea at the time was for me to be an office admin and then kind of learn a little bit of SEO, which is the search engine optimization. So we just kind of left it at that. It was just conversation. Not too long after that, she said that she had talked to the owner lady and they would like to have lunch with me and just kind of get to know me and talk about whatever, because I didn't have any experience to talk about. I had no idea. I didn't even own a computer. I, at the time, didn't even have internet in my home. I didn't have television. I basically was just watching, DVDs if I watched anything. And for the most part, spinning records, because I have a record collection that I really like. But I just didn't, technology, I didn't have. Any technology experience, didn't have. So I didn't really go into this thinking anything anyway, because I'm like, why would they want me? I literally know shit. And so we went to lunch, and it was me and the girl I had met and my mutual friend that worked there as well, and the boss lady. And we met and had lunch and chatted, and the boss lady seemed to take a liking to me and was interested, but she was afraid and was open about this at the time, about having the budget to bring me on, and didn't want to risk bringing me on, having me leave my current job with the hotel, then not being able to keep it going and have to let me go, and then I'm out of job, period, which I respected. That lunch happened, and then the girl I had met that worked there would, every time we see each other, which was not that often to be honest, but every time we did, she, our other mutual friend, out and about, she would bring it up. I'm still got you in mind. When the budget opens up for it, I'm still pushing for you to come work with us. And then this one evening, about 1.5 years, if not 2 years later, to be honest, she sent me a text and she said, can we chat? And I was like, it's kind of late. I'm not really feeling like talking. And she said, it's really important. And I think you would like to talk to me right now. And so I did. And she said, so we're ready to bring you on if you're interested in coming to the agency. So I essentially went to a kind of an interview, but it wasn't an interview. They already knew I had no experience, and really it was just to get to know me, get to know them, talk about the culture of the office and what role they would really like me to be in, which ended up being not admin at all, and all SEO is what subsequently happened. I took the job with no experience and no computer, no nothing. So I put my 2-week notice in at the hotel. So was that 1 week, and then the second week, my father passed away. Been diagnosed with COPD and had been in a coma 14 years prior. And 14 years had a heck of a long stretch between then and actually passing away. He was definitely a fighter, but he was so pleased that I had gotten this offer and this opportunity. I always kind of felt like he hung on until he knew, he knew I was going to be okay. And so the week before I'm supposed to start at the agency, he passed on. My first day at the agency was September of 2018. The day I showed up, the doors to the office were locked. They had just locked them because they had just fired somebody who was apparently unhinged and threatening them. And also, my first day there, this other girl started as an intern and would subsequently become my partner throughout the years. So that is the story of my introduction and start with the agency. So thanks for listening to part 1 of this saga. Stay tuned for part 2, where we talk about the culture and the training and the initial situation of agency life. Bye, guys.